I'd like to welcome everybody to today's presentation. We have in the house someone that I've had the privilege of working with before. He's going to be leading us today on the topic Leaders Enable, one of the E's of leadership. He's currently the group HR director for the Flour Mills of Nigeria PLC and its subsidiaries. He's also the president of the chairman of Governing Council of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management of Nigeria. He's an engineer by training. Yes, we call him Ogawali. He's an engineer by training. He's been around a number of companies and led in a variety of places. He said I should not go along with his long profile, so not a problem. I'll just copy the profile and paste it in the window so that if you want to read, you can read. And then he will open the floor today and talk to us about Leaders Enable. It's a 45 minutes discussion, and then we can ask all the questions we want to ask, and take it on from there. So I'd like to welcome us all today with Wale Adediran, Leaders Enable Others. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. It would be nice if I can share my screen.
Yes, you can.
I have just 8 slides here, and I would like to walk through them. Share screen. Okay. Application window, leadership. Thank you. All right. I believe you can see it. So if you can, I'm sure everybody else can.
Yes, I can see it.
Thank you very much. Okay. Well, good evening to everyone. Good morning for those that were now, the Far East, okay? And good afternoon to my friends in the US. Deolu has mentioned my name, but that's the correct way to spell my surname. He is good at it, but many people do confuse my name with Adeniran. This one is Adediran, okay? So Wale Adediran, thank you. And I'll be discussing with us. I wish I can see everyone face to face, and then we can chat through this. We'll be talking about or discussing about how leaders enable others to accomplish breakthrough results. So I want to I have just 8 slides, and the cover and the thank you slides are 2 out of the 8. So it's going to be mostly conversation. So let's first of all align on some ground definitions. So baseline, leadership is all about results, okay? And it's not about it's not about simple basic result. It's about landmark results or breakthrough results. So leadership that will be noticeable will be about breakthrough results. And if I ask you about leaders that you know of, I'm sure some of you will mention Nnamdi Azikiwe, Obafemi Awolowo, Ahmadu Bello, Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King. Those are leaders that accomplished breakthrough results that were well known throughout the world, or at least in Nigeria or Africa for that matter. So it doesn't have to be in the political space. As long as the result we're talking about is breakthrough result, then we are talking about leadership, okay? That's the first thing that I want us to all align on. So it's about breakthrough result, not just any kind of result. Secondly, it's about achieving those results through others. It's not as if the leader will not make personal contribution, but those results are beyond the leader. So leadership is about achieving breakthrough results that are beyond the leader himself or herself. Last but not the least on this slide is that leadership is a skill. It's not an inborn talent, or is not something that comes from the gene. Oh, that their family, they are known for leadership. Otherwise, we should have had another notable leader from the Awolowo family. I'm sorry. I mean, what you have had after Awolowo cannot compare to Awolowo himself from that same family. Same thing with Martin Luther King Jr. The same thing with Nelson Mandela. So it's not like it's not an inborn attitude that's in the gene, and it cannot be inherited. So it's a skill. It can be learned, it can be practiced, it can be trained, just as we're trying to learn about it tonight. So that's what leadership is. So 3 things you should take away from these first few minutes is that it's all about results. So it's not about being popular. It's not a popularity contest. It's not about gaining approval, though approval will come if truly the result is achieved. And what makes approval comes is those that partook in the process of getting the results will definitely respect that leader. And oftentimes, sorry, I'll use an example from the Bible, like the case of David, they will be willing to lay down their lives just to get him water to drink. So it's about breakthrough results achieved through others, and it's a skill, okay? Let me ask us. Everyone is a leader. Is that true or false? I wish I can see our contribution, to that. Is everyone a leader, or is everyone not a leader? So it would be nice to know what you think. Maybe you just type in the chat room. I'd like to see what you think. Somebody, Bukola said no.
Yeah.
Jason said true. No and yes, I don't know if it is correct though. It's true or false that we said. So please, let's use the same language, the same vocabularies. So everyone is a leader. Okay, thank you, Jason. True, false. Franklin said false. Okay, Kunle, I saw that. False. Now, you can see that there is diversity of opinion. And that's the beauty of it. The interesting thing is, even the mere definition of leadership itself, there is 1,020, and there are new definitions coming up every day of leadership. But what I love in the responses from the participants is most of you think that everyone is a leader. Well, experts in language and etymology of words may challenge that statement on the basis of the present tense used. Everyone is a leader. So in an absolute sense, if you say false, you'll be right. That right now as we speak, everyone may not be. But maybe the right question is, can everyone be a leader? True or false? And I want your response. So we've forgotten about the first one now. They're all right. Those who said true and those who said false, you are both right. Because it's about how you interpret it. But now, can everyone be a leader? Okay. Thank you, John. You said no. Second question, true. Thank you. Second question, false. True. True. Can everyone be a leader? Yes. True. Aha. Now, I'm glad that, again, majority believe that everyone can be a leader. And the truth is, yes, it is true that everyone can be a leader. Why is that true? It's true because, like I said earlier on, leadership is a skill. And there are 5, components in the skill set, from envision to execution. from envisioning to execution of the vision. So it's about being able to create a picture of the future, or a picture of a better state, or a picture of what the breakthrough result looks like. It's about drawing people to collaborate through effective, positive, productive relationships that are built so that they can connect to that vision, to that picture. And it's about inspiring others, exciting others about that picture, about that future, about that possibility. The fourth element of the skill set is to enable those who are inspired to deliver. It's not enough to communicate and inspire and excite a team of people about what is possible, and for them to believe in it and shout, yes, let's go do it. If they do not have the capability to get it done, they will fail and fall flat on their faces. And well, again, I'll use David. He's one model of leader that I personally love a lot, because he's human and he has his strengths and his failings. When David led his team to go fight a war on behalf of his host community, by the time they came back, they've been plundered by the enemy. And his entire team, rose against him and murmured, and they were going to even stone him, to the extent that he could only encourage himself. Wow. That's what happens in leadership if your team is not capable of achieving whatever picture of the future or the vision of a better state, or the vision of a breakthrough result or performance that you have inspired them to pursue. I'm not saying his team was weak and could not conquer in wars, but at least they were poor in planning their defense. And that was what left their rear, vulnerable, and their children and wives were taken away by the enemy. Good news, they went and recovered all. So tonight we'll be talking more about that step, that element of the leadership skill set, the element of enabling. That's what leaders do. They build capability of their teams so that the team can execute and achieve breakthrough results or outstanding results. Okay? And the last, which is the fifth step, is execute. So let's talk about how leaders enable. Okay? There are 7 key ways or key approaches through which leaders can enable their teams. The first one is resourcefulness, okay? Now, when you expect people to deliver results, you need to give them the wherewithal to deliver the results, okay? They need to have the right tools to deliver the results. They need to have the equipment, the tools, and the materials required to deliver the results, to meet the expectations, that had been allotted to them. So leaders enable their teams by ensuring that the team members have the appropriate tools, the appropriate materials, the appropriate resources to achieve the result as desired of them, to meet the expectations set for them. Leaders are teachers. Why are they teachers? They are teachers because they are the first to see a clear picture of what breakthrough performance looks like. And they are the ones that will guide and educate and clarify things for those that are working in their teams. So you have a small business, you have a reason why you started the business, and you have a clear picture on your mind on what you can achieve. You saw that vision, you saw that picture of that future, and you were able to connect with people, develop relationship with them and collaborate with them, and you are able to inspire them, excite them about that picture of the future. Next step is to enable them by clarifying whatever is not clear to them. So when you assign them a role or they volunteer to take on a role, they may keep coming back to you to break things down for them. They may get stuck at points where they do not know which direction, to take. And you, as the leader, you're not going to be telling them which direction to take, at least not at the beginning. It's always better for you to provide sufficient knowledge of that future again, so they are able to make the decisions themselves. It's only when they are really, really stuck and there is not enough time to teach that you opt for, directing and telling them where to go. It's managers that direct, leaders teach, leaders enable through teaching. The third approach that leaders adopt is delegation, okay? This is a powerful approach to enable people that work in a team to deliver outstanding results. When it comes to delegation, it's about sharing authority with others, with members of the team. Everybody wants to have some authority. There is satisfaction that comes, from knowing that you make the call. So leaders enable members of their teams by delegating appropriately, okay? Delegating in a productive way. Of course, there are delegations that are set up. Just set the guy up for failure. The guy does not have the ability to do it and is not willing to do it. And those two ingredients are key when delegating. You can't delegate to someone that doesn't have, that cannot do and will not do. So the ability is not there, the willingness is not there. Sorry, you can't delegate to such a person. So it's a key situational leadership approach that, deployed effectively, will inspire people because they know that they are important in the scheme of things. They are important in the effort to achieve the vision. So people are enabled when they receive such delegated authority and delegated missions to deliver. Leaders empower. It's not enough to assign or accept people's volunteering to deliver an expectation. Responsibility without authority is set up for failure, or at a minimum for frustration. And frustration comes sometimes before failure. So leaders enable their team members by empowering them. And we're not talking of all these political statements about empowerment. We're talking about genuine delegation of authority so that people can make decision, that they have sufficient knowledge, skill, attitude, and data to make. So leaders enable members of their team by empowering them, and then you go in steps. You give more as they demonstrate that they're able to handle the authorities that are delegated to them. So you are not just delegating assignments and expectations or missions or tasks, you are also providing the authority to deliver. So leaders have a key role, in helping to break barriers, and also in creating a collaboration that delivers results. Sometimes, when people work together, there is always the challenge of working with someone that you've never really developed relationships with. It's part of the role of the leader to orchestrate an environment where there is collaboration. And sometimes there will be conflict. Part of the role of the leader is to deal with such by going into negotiation and sometimes influencing people's decisions and choices, so that that environment that will engender collaboration is created. So leaders foster collaborative environment as a way to enable their teams to achieve outstanding results. And I've made mention of breaking barriers earlier. So it's not just barriers within the team, barriers that stand in the way of teamwork. It's also barriers that are external to the team. The leader should be the one that will face those external barriers and ensure that they're out of the way. Sometimes barriers could be availability of resources. And again, leaders negotiate, leaders influence, either within the team or even outside the team, to ensure that the team is fully capable of achieving the breakthrough results. So when we talk about enabling others to accomplish breakthrough results, it's about providing them the right resources. It's about helping them to have clear understanding of not only the vision, but also the strategy to get into the vision. It's about delegating tasks and submissions. It's about delegation of authority and empowerment. It's about helping to remove barriers, negotiating, influencing, to foster collaboration and teamwork on the team. So if we look at what it takes for results to be delivered and the role that the leader plays, one place that comes to mind easily is the Tower of Babel. For the construction of the tower, the vision was clear. Let's build a superstructure that will reach into the heavens so that we can go to God. We don't need to wait until we die. Very clear vision. And by the way, the people were engaged. So the man, Nimrod, was able to build relationships, build trust, and get people to buy into that vision. Great communicator, great orator, and he inspired trust. So he was able to energize everybody, excite them about the picture of the future and the great things they will do. Then comes the enablement. Of course, they got the resources, they started the construction, they were making progress, and then the most powerful weapon in pulling down a great vision and in rendering the leader powerless is lack of teamwork. And one key element in teamwork is communication. So God scattered the language. They were not able to communicate again. Teamwork crashed and fell flat. Fortunately or unfortunately, the leader could not manage that problem because they could not even communicate. So they were no longer capable of executing that vision. So in the execution of a vision or in leadership itself, that's those 5 elements of the skill set. The first 3 are more or less intangible, envisioning, you can on your own begin to simulate things in your head, engaging the people, you can, have conversations and all that and build relationship and influence people to buy into the vision. Then energizing people, it's about, giving them that clear picture, communicating clearly, and so on and so forth. The first tangible step towards achieving the vision is in enablement. And a leader that cannot be effective in enabling the team to deliver cannot achieve outstanding results. So it's a tangible effort required from the leader. It's about keeping the people, collaborating. It's about fostering teamwork. It's about ensuring no one is frustrated because they have what they need to deliver, and barriers are quickly resolved and taken out of the way. That's what leaders do. Now, just to bring the picture to life, first, resources, like we said, resourcefulness. The leader must provide the resources that are required. And the resources are not just the tangible tools and materials. They include the knowledge that's required, the skill that's required, okay? Even the authority that's needed. So the leader enables the team by providing that. Secondly, delegating. We've talked a lot about that already. Then the leader must consistently be the model that other members of the team will follow. That's why the leader cannot or is not allowed to fully express frustration sometimes, because every word of a leader has enormous weight. And that's why sometimes people say that the place of leadership is a very lonely place. It takes time to discover your own Peter, James, and John. Sorry, I'm making reference to the 12 disciples and the 3 that sometimes Jesus, takes into confidence to share some moments with, moments that a leader may not want to share because it can work, negatively to drain the energy and passion that had already been generated through the energizing effort of the leader. So the leader must be the role model of resilience, persistence, focus, drive, pushing for execution to get the breakthrough result. We've talked a lot about the leader teaching, explaining, guiding, clarifying, and helping to take decisions when people get to crossroads. We've talked about empowering, not just delegating responsibilities, but also providing the authority and breaking barriers, negotiating, influencing to break internal barriers to teamwork and collaboration, and external barriers to getting the appropriate resources for the team to deliver. The leader is not expected to solve every problem, don't get me wrong, but the leader must be able to foster teams and sub-teams, and initiate discussions, conversations, negotiations, and influences that will help to quickly solve the problem. So the leader must know where to find those that will solve every problem. If he can't do it himself, there must be someone else within or outside of the team that can do it. That's how leaders enable people to deliver outstanding results. And last but not the least is building trust. Okay? Building trust. In other words, walking your talk. What you say should match what you do and match what you intended. So your intent and how you show up must always be consistent, because the people do pay attention to it. And when it is not, they may not talk. They are just waiting for the opportunity to show you that they don't trust you. So leaders enable their team members by engendering trust, by inspiring trust, by building trust. And you know the saying that goes, look, trust that you build over a decade can be destroyed in a matter of seconds. So that's one quality that leadership demands, that takes a lot, a lot of effort to not only build, but to maintain and to be guarded jealously, because when it is destroyed, rebuilding it may be near impossible. So leaders enable their team by ensuring that they have what it takes to achieve, they have the proper training, they have the proper skill, they have the capability, then they have the authority, they are empowered, they have the clarity, they are taught and guided and help to understand the picture of the future. And when they face problems, they are not told to go and face it as their own cup of tea. No, the leader enables them by going into the trenches with them and unleashing all the skills, influencing, negotiating, and so on and so forth. You are not to solve every problem, but you should know those that will solve them. And every problem must have a solution, either within the team or outside of the team. And the buck stops at your desk. You must build trust. That's how leaders enable, people. So when we talk about enabling others to get breakthrough results, so we're talking about others who have opted and are consciously committed to do. So they can do because they have the skill, they have the knowledge, they have the right attitude, they have the ability, the competency to do, okay? Part of the strength of a leader is to assemble the right team. A team that is fit for purpose. According to biblical record, David's team was made up of all kinds of characters that would not fit into the social setting of Israel. All kinds of characters. But they were fit for the purpose that he was pursuing. So a leader's first step to success is to assemble the right team, okay? Our Lord Christ, assembled his team, 12 of them. And people say that out of every 12, there is one Judas, because there are two Judases in that team. But one is Iscariot, the one that betrayed him. So, in other words, in every team of 12, there will be one that will betray. I do not subscribe to that. I would say that team was fit for purpose. Actually, Judas Iscariot served the purpose that he was to serve in that team. And everything works for a picture of the future, the vision, the mission that Christ set out to accomplish. So the first step to success for a leader is to assemble a team that's fit for purpose. That's when you can enable them successfully. So a team that can do. In rounding up, the second point is a team that will do, that is motivated to do. A team that are of people that have chosen to do. They are inspired by what they have heard. They love the picture that they have seen, even though it's not yet accomplished. But the way it was described to them, they say, that's exactly what I'm here for. That's what I've been looking for all these years. Okay? And a team of people who know their limits, who know when to ask for help, okay? Who know when others or their leaders should step in to help them. So it's very nice to, follow those techniques of enabling people to succeed, including providing them the resources, empowering them, delegating appropriately, and so on and so forth. You can only do that with people who have these three characteristics. And that's what leaders look for in those that will make up their team and will be enabled by the leader to accomplish breakthrough results. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, so I think that was pretty clear. I think what we need to do now is ask questions. Questions? I'm wondering what's going on. Why? Are you still sharing the screen?
Oh, let me unshare, sorry.
Yeah.
I think I'm still sharing the screen.
So let's prepare questions.
Sharing.
Are there questions?
All right, please go ahead.
About leaders enabling? I think it's been a loaded, so many resource points, so many thoughts to think through. Any questions? Okay. I'm seeing thank yous and thank yous. Can we have questions, please? I think we also have a few people who are listening from online. Any questions? Let's put our questions together. Okay. I think while you are trying to put your questions together, I can lead with one. I can lead with the question here while people are trying to put their thoughts together. So you said that the three key things that we should consider while selecting a team: assemble a team fitted to purpose, a team that will do, so a team that can do, a team that will do, and a team that will know when to ask for help. So what do you do, for example, when you bungle one of the steps? If one of the steps is missing, so for example, you have a team that is not according to purpose, that's not suited to purpose. How do we navigate from there into ensuring that the team still serves the purpose?
First, let me start by saying the entire team will not be unfit for purpose.
Okay.
First is to identify who in the team have some shortcomings, okay?
Yeah.
After identifying those who have shortcomings, the next step is to identify where their shortcomings are. Is it in can do or will do or know when to ask for help? If it is will do, don't waste too much energy. Encourage them to look for what they will do. Honestly, that's it. Just have that conversation and treat them with respect. Treat them with empathy. Look, if you take me back to engineering, I don't know if I will do, because I found my passion here. Engineering for me was a job. this is my passion. Okay? So if it is can do, it can be fixed.
Okay.
Because it's about knowledge. The next thing is, what knowledge are they lacking? That we have to quickly help them, you know, to gather. It can be about skill. What skill gaps do they have? And how do we quickly bring in interventions that will enable them to develop mastery, or at least proficiency that's comfortable in those skill sets? It could be, if it is attitude, again, it is like will do, but it's not as bad as will do. So if those attitudes are not heavy derailers, you know, it's like what Jesus said, that the Pharisees, they leave weightier matters and focus on minor religious routines. So there are weightier matters, there are weightier attitudes. So if it doesn't bother on integrity, if it does not bother on, you know, robbing others of their dignity, or putting others to risk and unsafe conditions, other attitudes could be managed, okay? And how you manage it, sometimes it could be through coaching, it could be through mentoring, it could be through exposure. You know, sometimes people behave to the limit of the exposure they've had while growing up. For instance, somebody says, oh, when he opens his mouth, his grammar is horrible. It will destroy our image, our brand. Oh, when he sits, his attitude in sitting, you know, comportment, minor things that can be coached, that can be addressed. People say you cannot change attitude, but you can change behavior. So it's about teaching them new behaviors that over time will become habitual for them. Of course, people say, oh, you cannot teach an old dog a new trick. It's not entirely true. It's more difficult, but you can.
Okay.
And it depends on how much patience you have in you and how much empathy you have. The person's intention is the most important thing. If the intention is right, and it's just that the person is arrogant, the person's likes me, rather than the team, we. Those are things that can be dealt with, okay? So if it's knowledge, is the easiest. If it is skill, it's not the easiest, but it's easier. If it is attitude, it's more challenging. If the attitudes that border on matters of integrity, dignifying others, putting others at risk, you should help them find what they will do with empathy and support them in the transition. If it is will not do, please, there's no need to waste time. Help the person. The person may be working with you as an engineer to maintain your equipment, but the person's mind is in HR. It's better to help the person transition to HR. Otherwise, you'll be wasting your spare parts. The last one is, by the way, I wasn't wasting spare parts when I was running engineering, so don't get me wrong. The last one is those that do not know when to ask for help. Honestly, by the way, they are the easiest to manage. All you need to do is micromanage them for some time until they overcome that barrier, okay? You need to micromanage them for some time until they overcome that barrier. It's a barrier. It's the exposure. It's the ego. The ego of, no, I can do it. You can even see it in some children. You know, their mates, their playmates say, no, nobody should go there. We've never done anything. You say, no. You know, false confidence. Confidence that's built on braggadocios. You know, I will do it. I can do it. Those are people that will overpromise, not just under-deliver. They won't deliver at all. So they will let the team down. All you need to do for such people is close supervision over time while you keep coaching and guiding them on the need for them to ask for help rather than put everybody else at risk. And over time, you'll be amazed. They will do well. But the ones I will never bother myself too much about is will not do. Because it's an underlying belief that's driving that behavior. You made the decision. You may succeed in changing some, but the effort may not justify the eventual results. And you may not have the time, okay, to do it.
Okay. We have a few questions lining up very quickly. So I think we need to rush through them. Maybe like 1 minute.
Okay.
This person is asking, as a leader, is it possible to be at crossroads by not knowing where to call for help?
Yeah, it does happen. And what you need to do is Google is your friend.
Yeah.
You should have other leaders that you talk to as well. You should be in a network of leaders. Look, your network can sometimes be a determinant of your net worth. With a caveat, by the way, but it's not for 1 minute discussion. So you definitely sometimes get, in fact, you get into that crossroad often. That's why Jesus had those 3 guys, by the way. You don't think that the Lord and Savior himself, he doesn't need anybody. But once in a while, he will turn to them when he's overwhelmed and say, have you considered this? It's not because he wants to teach them alone. He's also reflecting with them. So it happens to every leader. If it can happen to the Lord, it happens to everyone. In the Garden of Gethsemane, he said, if possible, you know that story now, don't you know? If possible, take this away from me. And at a time, God had to send some prophets that had gone to come and join him, on the month of transfiguration. Anyway, leaders do face that. 1 minute gone.
Okay. Can a leader ask for help when in a difficult situation? Of course.
Those characteristics that your team members must have, you have to role model it. In fact, you should do it more than everybody else. Asking for help should be habitual. It's not going to reduce your status. In actual fact, it strengthens your relationship with members of your team. I ask my colleagues for help a lot. They know. Sometimes I mess up, I don't have my food, I shout, everybody hears, I'm hungry. Anybody with biscuits in their drawer. And they come out with all kinds for me, just the way David got water that he couldn't drink.
Okay. If the resources are limited, is this still the function of leader to apply the
Yes. In fact, the leader's first assignment after assembling the team is to get the resources. The leader, look, your vision is useless if at the end of the day, you don't know where to get the resources to execute it. So what's the point in dreaming? Are you Joseph? So why will you dream and you don't know where to? No. Anybody can dream. The hallmark of a leader is to be able to get resources to enable the team to accomplish. I'm not saying it will be the one that will fetch it, but we know where to get it, and we know who can get it for him or her.
Okay. Someone's asking here, how do you deal with a stubborn follower?
That's the person's gift and talent. You would divert that talent in a purpose that talent is fit for. So, for instance, if you have a barrier that will wear everybody else out, use that person there, assign such a role, inspire the person to use that talent there. That stubbornness will help the person. When everybody else would have given up, the person will not give up.
Use it for positive use.
So no talent is negative.
Good.
It's the way you apply it that makes it either positive or negative.
Word. Okay, someone's asking, when you have a leader that is not delegating rights, by maybe sidelining and disrespecting you in every possible way, what do you do?
you have to be willing to have difficult conversation. Oftentimes, we judge situation by our own perception alone, and the picture is incomplete without the perspective of the other stakeholders. So when you hold difficult conversation, what you're trying to do is get the perspective of the other stakeholders. And when you do, it helps you have a complete picture and oftentimes the right picture. So if you feel, because it's a feeling, you are feeling the person is bypassing you and giving responsibilities to others, go to the person and show that you have will do, you are willing to do, but you feel like you are not getting delegation. And the person will tell you, sorry, you don't have a will to do. It's now that you come to discuss with me that I know maybe you might. And these are my reasons, and these are my reasons, and these are my reasons. So be open, keep an open mind, have good intent, be willing to have difficult conversation. Difficult conversation doesn't mean you will shout on one another. Think of the worst case scenario. Okay, fine. If this person doesn't give me the responsibility, what's the worst thing that can happen? Will I walk away from the job, or I will take Camu and go back to my office? So oftentimes when you have such conversations, they resolve issues. Don't forget that the leader is willing to negotiate. A leader that enables his team is a leader that can negotiate, is the leader that can influence. In fact, the leader will be happy that you open up the conversation. I'm sure Diolu remembers a difficult conversation I had with someone that is today one of my very good friends. He worked with us in our team. I canceled him on some records to keep regarding purchasing. But because he thought I knew some other things about his wealth, and he felt maybe I was insinuating that he's making extra money illegitimately, he became very rude. He insulted me. That was someone that would be at least a couple of levels in terms of job position below mine. And he did all he could, and we were like, I will overreact. I didn't even bother myself because I knew there must be something driving that thinking. So I requested that we should have a conversation in our audio room in those days. He still shouted on me and everything. And I insisted, you need to do this. When auditors came into the country, they audited him. Thank God, what I asked him to do was what bailed him out. And he called me, prostrated for me in that same audio room where he had insulted me before. He prostrated, Oga Wale, which is my nickname. It's not about being boss. Oga Wale, thank you very much. We are good friends today. He's a farmer, very wealthy young man. So difficult conversations sometimes help to resolve such wrong perceptions.
Okay. Another person is asking, Alabis is asking, as a multi-stream talent person, how can one streamline his or her talents?
You streamline your talent by streamlining your vision. The first thing, look, it's like somebody that has a toolbox, and your toolbox is full of all kinds of tools, mechanical, electrical, all kinds of tools. What determines the tool that you will take out of that box is what you want to do. So the starting point is, what's the picture of the future that you have of yourself? Don't say, I want to be a millionaire. That's not a picture, okay? So the picture you have of yourself of the future is the starting point. When you have that clear picture, that's your vision, okay? The next thing is, okay, what do I need? What are the resources to bring this future to life? Who do I need to work with me to bring it to life? Okay, it could be your parents. You have a picture of the future, you want to become a consultant in XYZ, and you just finished your first degree and you need additional degrees, outside of the country, and you need help, you need resources. So your parents will come in, other stakeholders will come in. So the talent you will use at the end of the day, look, the is multi-talented. If his picture of the future is to be a pastor of a mega church, there won't be anything like Ruzu. but he has a very clear picture of what he wants to be. So that picture will determine which talent you will apply, mainly. The other talents too, it's not like you won't use them. You will use them. I use my engineering skills in HR practice. I'm a process-driven person, and that's coming from my engineering background, not from HR. So it's about what you want to achieve. Thank you.
Wemi Wakaite says, are there navigating skills for a business where one is a leader and manager same time of his business with a few staff? So yeah, the business.
In fact, there is no dichotomy. It's like work-life balance. Work and life are already mixed together, like Gary and hot water to form a bar. So you are a manager and at the same time you are a leader. Who is a manager? You are managing a business, then you are a manager. You are inspiring people to pursue a vision and you are enabling them. You are a leader. You are both of them at the same time. The fact that, you want to be a leader does not mean people come late. You will not give them feedback that, my friend, punctuality is important in our business. So the fact that you are a leader does not mean that you will not put policies in place to run your business. Okay? So you perform the duties of a manager, but you would do it as a leader by inspiring people, by enabling them. A manager will say, look, I have schedule of duty. A leader does not have schedule of duties. It's when you combine the two that your business will be well managed and your people will be well led.
Okay. Missing that. Can't hear you again.
Hello?
Okay.
I've answered the question.
Yeah, okay, good. The last question here says, how can one nurture someone who is not educated but willing to learn?
See, if you find someone that is not willing to learn, sorry, you said the person is willing to learn. Okay, yeah. But the person does not have the competence yet to be delegated to.
Yes.
How do you manage such persons? Again, it's like what we said earlier on. You look at where the gap is. Why is the person not ready for delegation? Is it the knowledge? Is it the skill? Is it the attitude? So when you identify which one it is, thank God the person is willing to learn. So if it is knowledge, then you provide access to knowledge and you teach as well. You're a leader, you should teach what you know. And what you don't know, you know who can teach it. Is it a skill? You enable the person to keep practicing and practicing and practicing. You provide a safe environment for the person to learn through his or her failures and mistakes. You don't nail the person to the cross, just because of a very simple mistake. It's part of what leaders do. You give room for people to learn from their mistakes. And when they make such mistakes, you sit down with them. It's an opportunity to teach. It's a teaching window. So you teach by guiding them into, okay, what did you do that you could have done differently and so on and so forth. So let them take the learning from it. So if it is attitude, we've talked about that. There are attitudes that are weightier matters of integrity, safety of others, dignity of others. Don't compromise that. If it is not any of those, others can be coached. You can mentor them to develop new behavior. You won't change the attitude, but you change the behavior, become their habit, and it will look like the right attitude. Maybe even the one you're interpreting as attitude, learned habits that are not dying because habits die hard. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So the last, and then you can give your parting shot after this one so that no other question comes in after this. It says this is very important. If as a leader you have hardworking workers, but they often perform poorly at assigned and delegated tasks, how do you handle them?
50% of the challenge is with you, the leader. Everything starts and ends with leadership. So if they're hardworking, that means they're generating a lot of effort.
We want to do
that means the effort is being channeled inefficiently, unproductively. You are the leader. Sit down with them, review the vision. Maybe you need to adjust your strategy. Maybe they need some knowledge. Look at the result that you desire. Together analyze why you are not achieving it. First of all, it's not because of lack of effort. The effort is there. So why then are the results not being achieved? Are you having the right target? Because sometimes people set targets that are unrealistic. That's why we talk about SMART targets. SMART, T, specific, measurable, and so on and so forth. So validate that target as being smart. As a leader, apart from having clarity on the picture of the future, assembling the right team, and making sure that they are capable. Also, you are to make sure that you are setting smart targets, smart objectives. If the objective is not smart from the beginning, 50% guarantee you will fail. Because you have people who do not have wings to go to the moon, and they do not have space shuttle. What are you talking about? And they didn't go beyond primary school. Sorry, it's about knowledge. It's about knowing the rotation speed of the Earth and the diameter of the moon and doing some projectile calculations. They can't do all those. So it starts with the leader, it ends with the leader. It's not the people, as you have acknowledged that they put in all the efforts. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. I think we've answered most of the questions. We've shot the runway by quite a while, but I think it's been worth every second of it. I don't know if there's any final parting thoughts you want to share with us, with Leaders Enable. I think we have a lot to chew on. But yeah, any parting shot?
Everyone can lead. People talk about unemployment and lack of vacancies. Believe me, that job has sufficient vacant positions that will take everybody. It's a constant gulf that is difficult to fill in every aspect, walk of life. Anyone can lead, but very few are leading. And the positions, the vacant seats are inexhaustible. So the harvest is plenteous, but the laborers are few. Develop the skill, you will become a hot cake, because don't forget, it is about getting breakthrough results. It has nothing to do with your first degree or your diploma. It is a skill that is transferable. And when you have it, you have what the world is looking for. The world is looking for breakthrough results. I don't know, if you look at all the leaders that we always make reference to, they have different educational backgrounds. But what's common about all of them is breakthrough results. And that's what leaders enable others to achieve. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank Mr. Wale Adediran for today's presentation, and everybody for showing up. Remember, all of this will be tested. So it will be tested in the school of life, and it will be tested in a short quiz that we'll also take as well. It was good having us all around this evening. To those who are watching on live, whatever on Facebook as well, let's take the lessons and take action based on them. Leadership is something that is essential to our nation's development, essential to corporate development, essential to family life, essential in every facet of life and engagement. Let's take these lessons to heart. Everybody's not a leader, but everybody can be. And the pathway to being there is taking these lessons and taking action based on them. I can see a lot of thank you messages. I join everyone to say thank you to Mr. Wale Adediran. Thank you so much. We appreciate. Someone says thank you very much, Gawali.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
It's a privilege to be with you. I'm grateful. Thanks for inviting me.